Welcome everybody to Bring a Sword. This is episode 2. And today we are here with the regulars. My name is Okami.
You can call me Rocks.
Easy E here.
You got Nico here.
And your boy Zukken. Yeah.
Now, today, let's start off with a pretty simple if or. What do you think would win? Magic or technology or slash science?
Oh, we're going straight into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like
Okay.
it.
Nothing.
No hellos, no lead up. All right, magic versus technology.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Is there an anime where that is like the premise?
Here's where I step in. My favorite anime of all time, Little Witch Academia, pretty much handles that.
That is true.
Here we
That
go.
is true. They do have. It
It
have
is
tech
true.
versus magic.
Versus magic.
Because a conflict is that the witches are pretty much useless in the modern world because everything that can be done with magic has been able to be done with technology.
Right.
Right? And even more. So that's like a main conflict in that anime. So
Well, who wins,
I feel
magic
like
or technology?
magic has to win because technology has to be built.
I don't know. What kind of magic can stop a nuclear bomb?
Any kind of magic, I
protection
guess. 'Cause
magic,
it's fucking
clearly.
magic.
I don't know.
it really depends on the magic, right? I guess.
The level of the
Well, the
wizard,
thing
right?
is, right, is like, is a lot of strength is tied into an individual, right? But if that individual manages to, let's say, die somehow, like, the thing with technology is that it can,
It runs by themselves.
technology isn't just done by one person or whatever, like, let's say a guy can cast some really strong magic. Well, if he dies, then that kind of magic or strength is kind of disappears, you know what I mean?
But anybody can shoot a gun.
Exactly, right? Like, this is why, like, I always wonder, like, because in most situations where we see magic, it's always set in a time where technology hasn't really flourished, right? Most of the times, right? Another good example was Gate. I don't know if you guys know
Never
about
heard
that one.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically basically a portal opens up to this fantasy world, and then fucking Japan militarizes it, right?
Nice. Is this like World War II Japan?
It's all.
Because that sounds like World War II Japan.
It's modern day Japan, but
It's
they're
like yeah,
They're
it's modern day
militarizing
Japan.
stuff?
And
Modern day?
there's like no, like they try to make peaceful negotiations, like fucking dragons and shit attack, and then you just see a helicopter and some dudes inside the helicopters gun down everything, right? And it's always two distinct settings, right? Technology in modern, and fantasy in or magic in this kind of medieval style era.
Yeah.
Right? And then you also have scenarios where magic works with technology, or like technology. Here's another question: Do you think technology can work
No,
with magic?
I think
Yeah,
that's
well,
why
no,
you see
that's-
so many.
Nick,
like-
hold on.
Oh,
Nick.
Obviously, Nick hasn't
Obviously,
watched the
Nick
Endless Art
hasn't
in
Played
Fairytale.
any Final Fantasy game,
there's magic and there's technology in Final Fantasy. Yes.
and the technology sometimes can use magic.
Right, it can. It can be taught to use magic, created to be used magic. But I think that's
We're going into Final Fantasy
yeah,
territory
but I
here.
think that's why you see so many things like animes and shows like where it's medieval magic and there's not technology is because magic existed in those places forever, so there was no need for technology.
So this
Oh,
They
that's
didn't have
true.
the need to create technology. Why? Because they had magic.
Real talk.
So-
Wizards of Waverly Place.
Selena Gomez.
Ooh.
So this randomly gave me an idea for the best anime in the world,
Oh boy.
and it's kind of off topic, but it just kind of popped in my head. We've
Okay,
all
there he
seen the
goes.
we've all seen the isekai anime where they get hit by a truck or a bus, and then they wake up in a fantasy world, right?
Wow.
Wow.
What if?
What if it's the opposite?
Pretty sure that
A
exists.
fantasy character gets stabbed in the face with a sword, and they respawn in modern day Japan,
Oh,
and
they're
then it
screwed.
turns into a
They're
slice of
screwed.
life.
Has that? I feel like that's been made.
I mean, the devil is a
Yeah.
part-timer, sort of.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Aside from that, I don't
Okay,
really know.
you got me there.
But aside from that, I mean that's like one, and we all know
Well, I
that's
mean,
a
you
good
still-
anime, so I
you
can
got
see why
Inuyasha
you
too.
think that
That's
way.
not
Inuyasha
just,
goes into
That's
modern
just
day.
that's not just a good anime player.
That is a
That is a
great
great
anime.
anime.
Any disagreeers?
I'm thinking.
No,
I'm
no.
thinking about it, right? Because if it's generally, if it's the normal way around, it's really knowledge from the modern era is pushed onto the medieval era, right? In the other case, there's so much they have to learn, right? That because that's like a really big advantage, like a lot of isekai protagonists have, right? It's like they at least have more knowledge coming into the world than most people, right? In terms of like you know, well if it's the other way around, that person's screwed, man. They don't know shit.
Well, that's I mean, that's literally like the trope of fucking Demon King is a part-timer, you know?
Yeah.
That's literally the point, and I feel like that's exactly what would happen, right? I mean, it's all about like history. We're taught different things based on the past, so if you were suddenly, I mean, even in like popular media, if somebody gets transported into the future, they're so lost.
Yeah, who knows?
Now, if we
You know
take
what anime-
magic out of the question, even more, I guess.
You know what anime everybody needs to be watching if they're not already?
What?
Wonder Egg Priority. It is
No,
so-
I will not.
Hold on.
Why
hold
not?
On, hold on.
Tell
hold
me.
on. Hold on. Wait. We have not completed the topic. We need to discuss who would win,
Who
We need
would
to
win?
come to closure.
magic or technology.
Yeah.
And it's obviously magic.
I'm thinking technology.
I'm gonna say technology.
Wow.
I'm gonna say technology. Yeah, sorry. I mean, dude, like if you think about it, at some point. So
but here's the thing: you're gonna
right?
have to create.
I don't think
Alright, go
there's
ahead.
there's never been a case. I don't think in any media that I've ever seen where like magic evolves with time. So in the long run, technology is just gonna overcome it. Like even if magic can do like awesome shit, at some point technology is gonna,
be able to do it better.
it's gonna
Yeah,
pass
but
it.
technology
Yeah.
can only be created that way from inputs from humans that teach it what it needs to know.
I think you guys are looking way too far into it. Look at it this way. Think out of every anime, video game, who's the strongest magic user you can think of?
I'm thinking of it.
Well, I mean, I was hoping someone would give me a name, so I had someone to work with.
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
Okay, dude.
Dumbledore. All right.
He's
so
my favorite
Dumbledore
anime.
walks up, nuclear bomb goes off. That's technology, right? Let's say he finds a way to survive it or partially stop it or shield an entire city from it. Here's the thing. Radiation's still going to kill him. He's going to have 7 different types of cancer and just die. And without technology,
How do
the
you know
cancers
that
don't
he
get.
just can't dispel the radiation with a dispel?
Well, because dispel
You sure?
works
Right.
on magic.
Yes.
This is radiation, player.
Yes.
No,
Has there
here's
ever
the
been an
users-
instance
I have-
that it's
I have-
proven that
magic
it
users
doesn't
still
work
die
I have something that-
from magic users still die from natural causes. So radiation poisoning would be technically like a natural cause, even though it was created from an unnatural source. It's still natural.
we don't have to even look at that, right? Magic, if like magic comes from living beings, right? Sooner or later, those living beings will have to either A, rest, right, or B, recover their mana, right? And when they run out, they're done, right?
You know, it doesn't have to recover mana.
Hey, you could say the same thing
A
about
sniper
fuel.
rifle.
Fuel? Yeah, well,
Ammo.
yeah. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure ammo is more abundant than mana, right?
Well, I mean, if you give snipers an example, sniper can just run out of ammo, man. After that, it's a long metal stick.
Who wins in a fight, Dumbledore or the
No,
Dark
wait, I
Magician?
want to answer your analogy there with the nuclear bomb with this.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
No, I
God,
haven't
he's
Googled
Googled
anything.
something.
Oh no.
All I'm saying, player, Dumbledore's sitting on the ground, right? Nuclear bomb coming from the sky, flying
Coming
towards
down.
him. He sees it. What does he
Yup.
do? He Wingardium Leviosa's that thing, launches it into
No use.
space, and it's gone. No bomb.
Into space, the good old Iron Man move.
Yeah. Or he just hovers it in the air,
Yeah.
sends it somewhere
Tony
else.
Stark.
Oh my God.
I
Okay,
think-
here's the
I
thing,
honestly
right?
think-
Like,
Not in that
yeah.
instance.
I mean, it's, you know.
Well, I think could we all agree that if we had to choose between magic or technology, what would you guys choose? Like, if you were to live with magic or
I mean,
live with technology?
no.
what would you
Honestly,
choose?
it would really depend on the
I
context.
live with magic.
man.
I'm living with
I-
technology now, and it sucks.
Yeah, I would live with magic. 100%.
Same. It really just depends on which one can quickly create actual cat girls.
And that would be magic.
Also, I think magic could like technology is like kind of bound by the laws of this world, right? Like,
For now.
for now, I mean, like, I've been thinking like, dude, you could like create water, man. Imagine.
No, like I've been thinking about something. Here's the thing, right? I feel like between magic and technology, it's kind of a trade-off if you pick one or the other. Because I feel like magic can do certain things that technology obviously will take incredibly long to do and just not as well. But technology also I'm pretty sure it can do things that magic can't do, like easily at all.
Entertainment.
But like, here's the thing, right?
Entertainment.
Like, if you think about if we pit both typical like a standard like futuristic world versus a standard fantasy world, there are some clear differences, right? Like, of course, the one with magic, hey, like, shit's more badass, right? But like, okay, you can throw a fireball at a guy, but you cannot treat cancer, right? If somebody gets their limb cut off, you need a really specialized guy just to heal that shit, and even more if you want to regen it or something. But like in this world, like, fuck, just cover it and sterilize it and shit, you know? Like, I feel like there's some like downsides to magic as well, because there's some things that magic just can't do, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is
Well,
limited.
wait. I think I may have flipped sides here.
Oh.
Technology currently can't bring you
Magic
back to
can.
life. I mean, you know, we see those times where you get defibrillated, but like, imagine your head explodes. Technology currently can't just bring you right back. But, for example, let's say, I don't know, you're in the anime fairy tale. Nothing can kill you. You'll just always come back straight to life somehow.
Well, that's
You'll
because of
figure out a way.
friendship, not magic.
No, that's just plot armor, man.
That's just
plot armor.
friendship.
But
That's
we'll
just
go.
friendship.
We'll go even
But
to
do-
even look at like Harry Potter, right? What? Who was it? I can't remember exactly, but they break their arm, and they have
Harry?
yeah,
Harry?
Harry breaks his arm. I was trying to think.
That is a very
I don't remember who it
big
was.
scene in like
I
the
couldn't remember
original.
off the top of my head.
He might have been the main
anyway.
character.
Anyway, right? And they give him a potion to regrow entire bone.
But
But-
then it turns
but-
his
Is alchemy part
I
of
think
magic?
they go hand in hand.
no.
Can alchemy exist without
technically
magic?
have all.
Yes.
I mean, we technically have alchemy now.
I mean, if you consider alchemy the like,
Chemistry.
yeah, but like alchemy is about transmutating and stuff, you know, like
Yeah.
the essential elements and how they're the equivalent exchange and all of that fuss. If you think about it, we can technically do that because like particle accelerators can make elements out of other elements, but it's like it's not the it's not the same
Yeah.
thing, you know. I mean, it's essentially the same thing, but it isn't at the same time because you don't. If you mix 3 gold coins, you don't get a platinum coin. You know, that's not how it works. But yeah, I mean, alchemy is like so in reality, you know.
So, since we're talking about Harry Potter, can I just take a moment to have a small rant?
Oh,
Go for it, dude. Go.
yeah,
for it.
I think we already closed this one.
So,
Technology wins.
I went through one of the most frustrating things in my life the other night. We had a little get together. We were playing this little Harry Potter game. It was like a trivia
he
game,
goes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So let me explain kind of the premise. I can't remember what it was called, like Pictopia or something like that. So, you know how like in a lot of card games, like Cards Against Humanity, for example, there's like a judge every round, and it's like whoever draws the card. So just like that, you know, you draw a card off the top of this deck, and it's this big, probably like 4-inch by 4-inch card, and on the back there's a bunch of questions, and on the front there's like a picture from the movie. It might be like A, B, C, D pictures of different characters, or it might be 4 different scenes with somebody edited out, and there's just like a black shadow there. And here's the thing. On the back of the card, depending on what you rolled on the dice, everyone can see the side with all the pictures, like all the images from the movies, but only the judge can see all the questions. Depending on what the judge rolled, picks the question on the back of the card. 3 times out of 4, the questions on the back had nothing to do with the images on the front. So let me give you an example. There might be a question on there that's like, which of these characters did XYZ in the movie? And then everyone would go around, they'd look at the image and be like, okay, I think it's A, and then everyone votes. And you know, that you score it however many people got it right. But then there'd be like 3 questions that were like, who in the room would be a Slytherin? And then it has nothing to do with the images on the front of the card, right? Like, does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
That you draw the card, there's images on one side. And the question that the judge asked might have nothing to do with the images on the front. In fact,
to
most
be
of the time
fair,
it did not.
It was how we rolled, and it's not really about like it's luck of the draw. We could have rolled like 90% the questions that had something to do with the pictures on the front. But because of how we rolled,
That's true. That's true.
It seemed to always roll the group questions or whatever.
Yeah, there was a lot of group.
Okay, that might be true, but here is how we would play this game. Judge would draw the card, roll to pick the question. Before the judge knew what the question was, everyone was passing this fucking card around, looking at the images, and it would be 10 minutes of people passing this card around and be like, oh no, that's the scene where somebody did this, and oh, that character that's been digitally removed from the image, and they would just pass this card around for 10 minutes talking before the judge got the card back, read the question, had nothing to do with the images. So we just wasted 10 minutes geeking out over the images on the card.
Levi is saying that he's against conversation and fun, and
Yeah,
only
that's part of
wants
the
to
game.
get back
I'm
to the
saying
game
no.
so he can win.
No, I'm against playing the game incorrectly.
Exactly.
If the judge
I played it by the rules, which the rules stated
judge gets
to
the
do
card,
so.
judge
The rules stated you passed the card around.
fuck up. Shut the
first.
fuck up. Judge says judge reads the question and this question has nothing to do with the card. There's no point in us passing it around. Or the question does have to do with what's on the front of the card, so let's pass it around. Here's the most annoying thing. If the question did have to do with what was on the front of the card, all the images, guess what would happen? We'd pass it back around for another 10 minutes.
Also,
All I
wasn't
wanted
10 minutes.
all
That's an
night was to
exaggeration.
just figure out what the question was first to see if the front of the card even had
Yeah,
anything
but
to do
that's
with
the
it.
beauty of games.
Game
It
drug on
brings people
forever.
together. We get to talk about. We get to exchange
my.
ideas and opinions, and yeah.
I've never been so livid in my life.
We could tell you were laying on the other side of the couch just fuming.
Fuming.
Well, the thing was, it was a fun game. I wanted to enjoy the game, but we were just wasting so much time and playing the game incorrectly.
But how much of that had to also deal with the fact that we were very inebriated?
That was the first thing we did. We had like one drink in us.
We were not drunk.
And then everyone would be like, Levi, do you not like this game? Oh, no, he doesn't like this game. He's not having fun. And I'm like, I like the game. I just don't like the way we're doing it. It's driving me up the wall. Fuck. All right, there's my small rant.
All right, so
Okay, nice.
on to the next topic. I had something that I woke up to this morning that I was a little upset with. So I was very excited for a game coming out, and I woke up this morning to find out that Amazon has officially canceled the Lord of the Rings MMO.
Wait, really?
It is officially dead, and I am very upset about it. Let's talk about it.
Why did they cancel? Money?
I would say budget issues and just time in general, because MMOs take just a lot of resources and time, but still doesn't change the fact that I'm very upset about it.
I mean, I feel like Amazon.
An Amazon
should be able to do
spokesperson
it.
said in an email.
Right.
Yeah.
So much power and money.
Yeah, it says here that they were unable to secure terms to proceed with this title at the time.
Couldn't get terms.
I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, unable
How
to
long was
secure
it in
So
development?
terms.
far.
Amazon Game Studios launched in 2014, and to this day they haven't released a single successful game. I am not joking.
Well, they have New World that's coming out.
What is
soon,
a
right?
game
Yeah.
that's launched?
They have released one game, and it was the Grand Tour, and that was hated as fuck, because it was so bad that they had to pull it from storefronts.
New
Okay,
World
so-
is like a colonial MMO
Yeah,
type.
I'm sure that'll
I'm
offend
looking
somebody.
at it right now. New
Yeah.
World looks kind of cool.
Yeah, New World
I
looks
do
looks
think
good.
that the show is still on, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Here's the thing, right? Like, New World, it looks amazing, and it probably is, but I do not want to get hyped for it, because I've learned my lesson, and like just looking at a game nowadays is not enough, right? Like go back to
Yeah,
E3 2017 and look at Anthem, dude. Like, damn, like that shit was the MMO that I wanted, right? Like,
The Destiny killer.
that was literally like my dream MMO when I saw it at first. And then when it released, I didn't even bother because everyone was hating it. And then no updates in a span of like 4 months later, right? It was like
And
damn,
now
man.
it's officially
Like,
dead.
Yeah.
it's dead, right? And like that's like my thinking about it. Like New World is probably gonna be good, but considering that this is coming from Amazon Games that has only released a shit game so far, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean,
it's like
the closed beta was people were playing the closed beta, right? And from what people have been playing with it, it obviously has problems, right? Because trying to implement Dark Souls mechanics in a fucking MMO, right, is terrible, right? If you've ever played Dark Souls PvP, you already know that like a 1v1 is already so bad, right? Because connection issues. But they do get some things right. The game looks beautiful, right? It's probably the best looking game I've seen. And they are making improvements. So, obviously I'm not gonna get my hopes up until I start to play it, but it's kind of sad because we've been disappointed with so many big releases, right? The earliest one I can remember is No Man's Sky, right? Like that was probably the most hype game, and it failed. Same thing with Destiny 2, that failed on launch.
No Man's Sky came back though, didn't it?
It did come back. It did.
you could say Destiny 2 kind of did compared to how it released.
Destiny 2 and No Man's Sky, if those games were released 2 years later, they would have been amazing, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right. Same thing with Cyberpunk, man.
Same thing with Cyberpunk. Yeah, I was gonna say it. Yeah.
If it was just released later, right?
Like I love Cyberpunk, man. I played like almost entirely through, and I had a great time. But I can totally see why people don't like it. I mean, it's not perfect like it was shown and promised as it was going
far
to
from
be.
finished.
Yeah, exactly. Like people were people were told that the game was going to be something that it wasn't.
Right. Well,
so
people had that expectation because it's CD Projekt Red. I mean,
Yeah.
they've never
Also,
failed
yeah.
to put a game out that's
Less than amazing.
less than amazing. So people already had that expectation for them, and then when they didn't meet it, it made people even more upset.
yeah.
What other than like big games that kind of flopped when they first came out? What like smaller game did you think had a ton of potential?
Hold on.
Oh,
hold on.
no.
I got the perfect one.
Oh no, I got the
I
perfect
gotta
one
remember the
too.
I do too.
Okay, so wait. Okay, Rox, you go first. I'll go second.
So mine is Splitgate Arena Warfare. Oh my god.
Splitgate. I'll look it up.
Look it up on Steam. It's literally like Halo 3 mixed with just a little bit of Halo 4, but you have portal guns.
I've
gosh,
I've seen this one before.
I've got like 16 hours on record. I just now started to re-download it because of this conversation. But it was so fun to play, but there's like 20 people at any given time.
Oh
playing it.
no.
And I think the biggest issue from what I saw in the past, like going back and looking at like Reddit threads and like just articles and stuff, the biggest issue was whenever they went to advertise it, they had a bunch of like really big streamers playing this big tournament, but they didn't give the streamers long enough to like get good at the game. They just paid all these streamers to like, hey, download this game and play in this tournament. And then all these streamers were playing against these really sweaty people that had been
They got
grinding it
shitted
for a
on.
week. And they got absolutely shit on. And the whole time they were like, oh my god, this game fucking sucks. I fucking hate this game.
Killed it.
And that kind of like ruined
It
it.
was the first
for a lot
game
of
I
people.
played on my computer when I built it.
Yeah, those were good times. Everybody should re-download it.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's free,
pretty
right?
sure.
It
If they
is.
make you pay for that, that's
Yeah, everybody should download
Okay,
it.
I cannot remember the name of it, but I'm sure if anyone watches E3 like I do, it was, I want to say either E3 2019, maybe 2018, but it was a pixel art game, and it was like set in like a cyberpunk style, and it was like a side scroller type of game, and it looked so
That sells?
good, but I think it I think it
No,
got
that sounds
canceled or it's on hold. I don't know. I'll have to find it and see.
What about you, Zukken?
So I talked about it with Alpha the other day, I think. But there's this game that. So here's the context, right? Here's the context as to why I liked it so much. I played this game during a time in which there were like no like fun MMOs, at least for me. Like nothing was out there that was like fun enough to like actually, you know, come back from middle school and play it, right?
That must have been before 2001 then,
Okay, dude.
because that's when RuneScape came out.
Not to my liking then, sorry. Okay. And I'm not talking MMORPG, I'm talking just MMO, right? Like literally just any multiplayer game that there wasn't a single one that just kept me going, you know, like just like, oh shit, I gotta get back to, you know, play, right? And I've always been a fan of the open world survival kind of game. And this game nailed it so... It was... Okay, so here's the thing, right? Picture this. Picture this. You're...
both butt naked.
Yeah. Picture this. You're in a world that is literally just sky islands. And you make your ship yourself to get through them. And it's literally just open world, full PvP, like stuff like that. It's literally like Sea of Thieves, but on steroids, right? Because you had to build your shit, you had your cannons, you studied different cannons, different motors, wings, barrels to carry your stuff, generators, like huge deal. It's called, well, it was called Worlds Adrift. It was made by the same guys that made Surgeon Simulator. That's Bossa Studios. Oh yeah, The Last Night. Yeah, I remember that one.
2017.
But yeah, so 2017. Yeah. So it was made by Bossa Studios, right? So it had like some devs behind it because that's the same guys from Surgeon Simulator, right? So that's like pretty good. And the game lasted really long. So the thing is, it had this feeling in it that you were so lonely, but at the same time you knew that at some moment you might come across somebody. Because most of the time you didn't see anybody. You were like pretty much alone most of the time. Unless you had a friend with you, stuff like that. But you just it was just you and your ship in this huge world, just popping from island to island, getting fuel and getting the materials to be able to get to the next zone, stuff like that. But then suddenly you came across another ship, and that's where the adrenaline kicked in, because you didn't know if they were like gonna shoot you, or if you were just safe, right? If they were just gonna pass. But at some point, you know, you're just going around, and this is like an anecdote, right? Like I was playing with a friend. And it was funny enough. It was just after Sea of Thieves released, I think, just like a month after, something like that. And the thing is, I don't know if so. We were watching two guys fight, at a distance. We were just both of us near an island on our ship, just calmly, like with binoculars, just watching two guys in the distance fighting. You know, good stuff, a good show. They were and the thing is, you also come equipped with a grappling hook, right? So it was like really fun to just swing around ships and stuff. The thing is, as we are watching, have you ever seen that clip, like Captain Look from Sea of Thieves?
Don't think so.
Nope.
I'm pretty sure we've all seen it at one point. It's really old. Just look it up, like Captain Look. Yeah, it comes up instantly. So we were just looking at this, guys, and my friend just goes, "Yo, is that a ship coming at us?" And we had this huge behemoth. I know what you're talking about. This like we're talking about a 10-man clan, fucking giant, ship on top of us, and they were so advanced that like hatches open and they drop out in wingsuits on us, and we try to. So the island was like a sort of shattered island, sort of an archipelago. So we just try to go under and between to try to dodge that. They just owned us instantly. They caught up to us. They made us give them some of our loot and stuff, but like shit, dude. It was like so energetic, right? And that kind of experiences made that game so special to me, because it was just so unique in the sense that you were like by yourself against like the whole world, but it was also like sometimes you find good people that helped you, gave you like blueprints for better motors and that sort of thing. But yeah, pretty good game. I'm really sad that they had to shut it down because of lack of player base. No, it wasn't from lack of player base actually, because it had a lot going, but the studio itself was doing poorly and they had to shut the servers down, I think. But it wasn't out of lack of player base, sadly. There have been some projects to like make like sequels and that sort of thing, but I've never seen it go anywhere. I have 84 hours on it, which for that time is huge.
So
Like,
So
yeah,
I have a game that I felt very overhyped and extremely disappointing. And I think Ethan will agree with this.
Oh no.
Because the first two games were amazing. Right? Like award-winning games. And that game is Mass Effect 3.
Oh my god.
Oh
You
no.
had to do it.
Yeah.
That game
You had to bring it up.
and that ending just completely ruined what was an amazing and very successful franchise.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that they're reworking everything, and they're supposed to be like Andromeda was a huge success. Apparently, it sucked. I didn't play it, and apparently they are doing like a soft reboot, I guess. They're basically gonna pick up where the trilogy left off, kinda. In the trailer, Liara's in it. If you haven't seen it, it's a pretty decent little teaser trailer.
Is Mass Effect's?
Are you alright?
Jesus Christ, I can't talk. Is Mass Effect 3 the Game of
Yes,
Thrones season
yes.
8
Yes,
of video games?
yes, absolutely. It is like the game itself, like, didn't redefine like the series. Like they hyped it up that it should have, and then
Right.
you played all the way through it expecting something great, and then you're like, okay, well, the ending of this game must be the greatest thing ever, right? Because I've played
yeah,
the
'cause
entire game through, and so far I'm not wowed.
Okay, so the two first games. The problem with the third game is the two first games set the stage up because every single choice that you've made throughout the first two games has mattered
For the third,
to the subsequent game, right? So the choices that you make in the first game affect the second game, and then the second game affects the third game.
Oh, they
Yeah.
yeah,
They do?
Yeah.
wow, that's
Then the
amazing.
third game comes around and it starts off strong, and you're expecting a big finish, and then what you get is a choice that is really not a choice.
It is not a
And
choice.
You get basically the same exact ending on all three choices, but a different color scheme, and that's it.
That's essentially it. Like, no matter what you pick, it's going to be the same ending, just told to you a little bit differently.
Yep.
And you're like, really? I just poured all of this time
And then people got really
into
upset.
these 3 games now
And then
that
people
I
got
thought.
really upset and was like, this is the crappiest ending ever. And then there were theories out there that made a lot of sense that would have worked really well.
Sounds a
that
lot
would've
like
worked
Game of
really well.
Thrones.
And then what is it, BioWare
Yeah.
was like, okay, will remake the ending. They remade the ending and didn't take any of the theories into consideration and did a slightly better job, but still bad ending.
Yeah. It was just, so extremely painstaking to sit there and dedicate your life to 3 games thinking your choices from these first 2 games mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get through the
Man.
final game and you get that ending and you're like, this has been the greatest waste of time I've ever done in my life.
I love that
Has,
kind of game, right? Like games that, like, like tell you in your face that your choices matter, and then you get that, but sometimes it's not such as like yes or no. Like if I think of a good example, it would be like Undertale, right? Because you're never told, oh no, you can't kill everybody if you want to get the good ending, right? You're just told like, hey, if you want to, you can't kill everybody, just if you want, right? But you're not explicitly told not to do so or anything. It's a choice, right? But it's not a choice in the sense that it's like a slider that goes yes, no, right? It's like an organic choice. You make it as you go through the game, right? I really like those sort of games. That sort of game is like instantly ahead for me because it feels so real. It's not like an option in your screen, just no.
Well,
right?
you mean you can actually role play.
Yeah, where choices have
Yeah.
weight.
Like you can
weight to them,
actually
you know?
get into the role playing element of an RPG game. That's when you know that you have a good RPG versus just a game with RPG mechanics.
Well, Okami, do you have a disappointing video game?
Not in terms of disappointing, but just sad. I told this to Zukken already, but I'm very into roguelikes. I've played roguelikes all my life. They're my favorite genre. And throughout middle school and high school, I played this game called Realm of the Mad God, right? Basically, a mobile company bought the game and ruined it, right? Like, it became heavily monetized. It basically lost all of its kabam. It lost all of its like identity, right?
Don't you guys have phones?
Anyways,
Tencent.
Okay.
the devs went on to make another game. It was called Starbreak, and it's hard to make, a new niche game, right? Roguelikes are very niche, right? However, they were really lucky because the whole community that played Realm loves the company, and when they decided to make another game, they already had a huge player base, right? And the release of Starbreak was awesome, right? It had like over 100,000 players, I think, and it only had 2 servers, right? Because the development team was small, but it had a lot of players. There was a lot of community. The forums became so popular. Every week, the developers would basically open up a testing server and like just let people play on the testing servers, do crazy shit, right? Updates were rolling out, improvements to the game were rolling out, but then after a year or two, like something happened, and then like basically the dev team fell apart. First of all, it was partly it was because of the toxic player base. Every game has toxic player base, but when it comes to such a high skill cap game, Starbreak was such a high skill cap game. Like you could do some insane stuff, right, if you were good enough. There was a huge toxicity. It made one of the biggest voices on the dev team. He was an art designer called Jinx. He left because people were just being toxic, and then just after that, it just fell apart, right? Like more people in the dev team started leaving, until there was one person left who was the founder, the creator of the game, basically. the last update was pushed like almost 4 years ago, right?
Oh my god.
And he closed out every server but one, and he said basically, I'm gonna stop development on this game, right? But I will keep the server up until the last player leaves, right? And
Oh no.
this game has had no updates, nothing, for the past, you know, four almost 5 years now, right? And there's still a pretty big player base, right? Like compared to what it was, it's small, but like when you log on, you always see like at least 500 people playing, which is crazy, and like a dedicated player base and everything. It's just sad, you know, like
Yeah, I
like the
feel like
original Halo 3 servers.
it's like
No, I think it was the Halo 2 servers. Ooh. Which one was it where Bungie shut the servers and like they remained online until the last person logged off, and there were a group of guys that stayed on for like 3 days straight.
I don't know.
Those were the good days.
I'm not sure.
yeah, what you said, Alpha, what reminded me of Starbound, right? Like huge game, pretty much Terraria was its like rival at some point. I remember that people were like seriously discussing like which one was better at one point. Now of course we all know that Terraria came out in the end, and it's pretty much because so this game is developed by Chucklefish, right? That's a pretty big thing, right? Like Chucklefish is a pretty big deal, but they push updates every like 2 years, and it's not like big updates. We went from getting like extra powers to having mechs, like small mechs that let you move around space in like 2 years, and then it has been like what, like 3 years, 2 years since we were promised like an update that literally just added bounties, and that still hasn't come out. But they haven't explicitly said no, we're done developing. No, they haven't said that. It's just like, yeah, they just they don't mention it on their Twitter. It's like Starbound doesn't exist anymore for them, which is,
yeah,
it's kind of, you know, like, and a lot of people play it. It's surprising. It has a very big community, mostly because it has workshop. So if there's no content, they make their own, right? And we're talking like Skyrim mods sort of deal here. Like there is a lot, right? But it's like, man, like why can't you like at least give us some closure about it, you know? Like, yeah, some companies, man, some companies just.
that reminds me of two games. Sorry, have you guys heard of Cube World?
Yes, I've never played that.
I played it in 2013.
So Cube World obviously was supposed to be a Minecraft killer, with the more focus on RPG aspects, developed by just one dude and his wife. You know, things were looking really good in the open tests, and then, you know, it was very ambitious, and a lot of people were hyped for it.
A lot of YouTubers
And then-
played it.
And then the dev went silent for like years, right? And then not recently, but like a year or two ago, he put out a teaser, right? Basically saying like, oh, the game's still in development, which hyped up a lot of people. And then when it released, it was like it was never even touched. Like,
It felt like it was another game. So here's the thing, right? What's the biggest thing about an RPG? What's the thing when you think about what's the core essence of an RPG? You think character.
Role playing.
No, yeah, you play as a character, right? You take on a role, right? That's the thing. And every RPG has this thing with character growth, right? You start small and weak, but when you beat dungeons and bosses and that sort of stuff, you get tougher and can do more damage and get cool gear, right? That's how RPGs work. But this dude had this crazy idea that in the game, it's open world, right? And there are regions, okay? And the thing is, when you switch regions, you lost all of your gear. Right? Like,
Isn't that like a
I-
thing in like Valheim though now too? Like people playing on different servers can't get their gear, like their gear is lost.
no, but
Well,
it isn't another server. I'm talking in like when you go from like place A to place B, you cannot. So if you get all of your gear in a certain like place of the
Yeah.
map, you cannot take it out of there.
That's stupid.
So if you get a cool hang glider or a boat, that sort of stuff, you can only use it in the place you found it. If you go away from that, you cannot use it. So the whole point of getting cool gear to use it, the whole progression was meaningless. Because if you went somewhere else, you weren't gonna be able to use it. Right? It was so stupid. And people, like, I'm talking, the Discord for Cube World kept going for like 7 years, dude. Like, I remember, like, I think the game released in 2019, so yeah, it's been like 6 years actually. But the thing is, for 6 years, I remember being in the Discord and it was just alive. Like, people were talking about it, like, oh, I wish Wole, that was the name of the dev. I wish Wole would come out someday and say that the game, like, he's been working on it. You know, people were still in on it. Like, it was pretty hyped. But I remember exactly. The Discord must have had like a couple thousand members, right? It was huge. But a week after the game released, that Discord was gone. Like, they had to shut down channels and that sort of stuff because there was just so much hate going around, criticism, people being pissed, people just straight up leaving. It literally died in a week after being alive for 6 years, right? So
Wow.
if that goes to show how the devs screwed up, I mean, yeah,
Sounds like similar like No Man's Sky.
So, yeah,
No Man's Sky released.
big disappointed.
Like what was it? Sold like 800,000 copies and then was dead 2 weeks later.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but yeah, like No Man's Sky managed to recover, right?
I mean, but I think
like,
they were tarnished. They're tarnished at this point. Like no one cares. Like
I just wish that Dan Salvato would come out with a new game already. And by new game, I mean the sequel to Doki Doki Literature Club.
I agree. Now,
Yeah, dude.
So,
I need it back in my life.
now that we've talked about like games that have like flopped, this is like my last thing, and then I'll hand the mic over. Speaking of games that have not met expectations, what game do you know for a fact, 100%, will be a success when it comes out?
Halo Infinite
ooh,
and other funny jokes you can tell your friends.
damn. Okay, I know. I have one. It's an MMORPG that is being made by Bandai Namco,
Not Lord of the
which has a pretty no.
Because it's canceled.
No, that's canceled. But Bandai Namco has a pretty nice record when it comes to games. So it's called Blue Protocol. I don't know if you guys know it. It's like one of the most hyped MMORPGs that I've seen in a long time. It's pretty much, this is gonna sound weird, right? But it's like MMO Genshin Impact, right? It's like, okay, I know that sounds like very bad. It isn't a gacha, by the way. Don't get me wrong. That's just the closest thing I can compare to it right now. But it is like this huge open world. I guess it's sort of similar to like Final Fantasy 14. I've seen people compare it to that. But like, yeah, I am certain that thing, when it comes out, it's gonna be good. I'm just sure of it, because like everything we've seen so far, and the whole fact that a huge company like Namco is behind it, like, dude.
Okay.
I don't. So, Okami, you got one?
Uh, yeah, I don't know, but I really really wanted to, so I'd say yes. It's Ashes of Creation. It's an MMORPG made by this new studio. Now it's literally new, right? That Ashes of Creation is their first game, and you know, that's pretty like, that's a pretty tall task, right? A new studio, basically doing their own MMO, and we already know how expensive MMOs are, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that their creator, or the founder of the company, is so rich that he's like personally funding the project. Obviously, he get like Kickstarter stuff, right? All that stuff, right? But he is personally funding this RPG because he to give it some context, like how rich he was, he retired at 25.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Okay.
He did real estate. So this man is rich, right? And he loved playing RPGs, right? And then all the current RPGs always have their flaws. And you know how people are, right? Like, even though RPGs are good, you need to have like you need something to scratch your certain itch, right? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he wanted to scratch his itch, so he decided to make his own RPG. Right?
That's how you do it.
I think it's been in 2 to 3 years of development. It looks really good. Yeah, Ashes of Creation. There's like it's all about like these. You basically like build cities, and then there's like PvP aspects. Its main focus are these like, basically the whole map is a checkerboard, right? Separated into squares, and then certain guilds or whatever can claim a square, or if an area becomes popular for like grinding or whatever, you can level up the square to have harder enemies and also build a huge city, right? And then the city has like stuff inside it, like housing, and then like you can elect a mayor. It's all sorts of stuff, right? But it's super ambitious. It looks super good, but it's still like alpha testing is like coming out this summer. So I'm pretty excited to see like how it fares. I don't think it's gonna be released soon. Probably like maybe 2 years at the earliest. But that's what I want to be good.
I have two games that one I think is gonna be good. One I'm not for sure about.
Okay.
The one I'm not for sure about, and I hope it's good, is Biomutant.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just the idea of an RPG like kung fu, like kind of cartoony kind of game, sounds like really cool. But I don't know much about the studio behind it.
Right.
One that I'm very excited about, that they've already made very good mobile games for this series, if you're into mobile games. But
Plants vs.
Portkey Games making Hogwarts Legacy.
Okay.
They've got a tall order,
Yeah.
a very very tall order, because I think arguably there are two to three probably really big series out there that people want to have just like really good RPG games about, and that's Dragon Ball Z, that's Naruto, and that's Harry Potter. Like, everybody wants there to be some big, massive, open world, really good game based on them.
I would say even more than.
And the trailer looks amazing for Hogwarts
I would say
Legacy.
even more than Dragon Ball Z and Naruto. People want an open world RPG Pokemon more than those games even.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Legends of Arceus, dude.
But Nick, or not Nick, Levi. What do you think
Yes.
is 100% going to succeed?
Killing Floor 6.
Killing Floor 6, yes, that's the one. I'm putting all my faith genuinely in Halo Infinite. I think it's going to bring Halo back, boys. And we can finally stop playing
I would
Destiny
agree with you, Trevor.
Sure, dude.
and never go back.
I think
I
think
be
Halo
there.
Infinite is definitely going to succeed. But the game that I choose, that I 100% know is going to be good, and that is Resident Evil Village, coming out next month.
Good one.
Booba.
You 100%
Good
know it's
one.
gonna be good.
I know it's going to be good. If it's anything like Resident Evil 7, which it is.
I mean, honestly, okay. So here's the thing: if we're talking Resident Evil, I remember that when Resident Evil 7 came out, a lot of people were like, of course, caught by surprise by the big change in the gameplay, right? Like, it was huge. You can't, like, switching from 6 to 7. It was like another saga. It felt like Silent Hill, right? But I think I prefer 7 over any other game. It's like, I'm not a fan of horror games, but like, yeah, it was good. It was really good. So I feel like now that they've like established themselves sort of in that sort of game, now they're just gonna go off. So I feel that as well.
It's taking my
Yeah.
two favorite Resident Evil games, which is Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 7, and combining them, and that is what makes me believe that it's going to be incredible. Possible game of the year.
Yeah.
Really?
Calling
Well,
it now.
I
possible
have-
I don't
game
think
of the
what
year.
else is coming out.
A Resident Evil
I mean,
game?
possibly,
as the
yeah.
Game of the year?
Hey man, I mean, you sometimes games come out that you don't expect to be games of the year.
I just don't know if the horror genre has a like big enough influence to win game of the year.
Like,
I disagree.
yeah,
but
well,
I disagree heavily. I mean, shit. Look at the 2 most played games during the pandemic. Among Us, not really
Not
a
at all.
horror game,
Among Us.
but
Was
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia one of the
Oh, yeah,
biggest? though?
Phasmo.
I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like Fall Guys was probably bigger.
Yes.
It was at one point.
No, it was-
really huge.
Fall Guys got really big, but then just shit the bed. People are still playing Phasmophobia.
But the thing is, I feel what you mean with game of the year. I feel like because I don't think honestly, I don't think the genre matters that much. Because if it is a good game, people would just recognize it, even if they don't like the genre itself. Like in my case, when Sekiro Shadows Die Twice came out, I'm not a Souls guy. I don't like that sort of game. In fact, I hate that sort of game. But I can see that that's a fucking good game, right? Like I can tell. You can tell just by looking that it's an amazing game, right? And I'm pretty sure that if something like Village comes out and people are just going off, then yeah, even if you don't like the genre, like people will start liking it. So like, I feel like it could totally go for
Plus,
Game
it
of
has the
year,
big
yeah.
lady.
And it does have the big lady,
The big
and
lady.
and I don't. What other big game releases do we know
Oh, I
of
mean,
this
you're
year?
gonna have Far Cry 6. You're gonna have Halo Infinite.
Wait, Halo Infinite is
Yep.
coming out this
Game
year?
of the year.
At the very end
Ooh.
of the year,
Oh,
you're gonna
yeah,
have
yeah.
the new Horizon Zero Dawn game coming out.
Yep. But that I don't think that's
Um,
confirmed for this year.
Is God of War Ragnarok confirmed for this year?
No, definitely not. That one's probably going to be.
I mean, they've got it listed.
I would
right
say
now as
2022.
2021.
That God of War Ragnarok needs to just not come out until 100% it's ready. Which I don't think Sony Santa Monica would ever release it otherwise. but-
No. Yeah, they wouldn't do that.
So, to what you said, Nick, about a horror game, first of all, I'll have you know that The Last of Us, I would consider that kind of a horror game. 2013 Game of the Year. Then
Last year's Last of Us 2.
my little bitch ass would consider the BioShock a horror game.
Very
The Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead's a horror game. One game of the year.
But we're talking about.
Yokai Watch 2. Game of the year.
But
Wait,
we're talking
what?
about like there's a difference between like Resident Evil and those games.
Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7.
just said
was
horror,
nominated
player.
for Game of the Year. Just saying.
Did it win?
I mean, no, but like,
I mean,
To-
game
to
of the
even-
year
to
is
even be
game of the year
nominated
is
is-
something that just like, you know what I mean? Like it, everybody's gonna play it. Like, I don't personally play Resident Evil games. I know a lot of people that don't like Resident Evil games, so don't care to play them.
okay, but like, okay, but we're
Well,
talking
I mean,
like
hold on.
last year
That-
we had
that
The
has
Last of
nothing to
Us
do with
2, and like I know like half of the population hates that shit.
Last of
Resident Evil 2 got a game of the Resident Evil 2 got a game of the year in 2019. Joystick,
Yeah.
golden joystick. Nick. So yeah, player.
just because you have people that aren't fans of horror games and you aren't a horror fan doesn't mean that it's a small fan base.
The Telltale Games, The Walking Dead, and then there's been a couple zombie games.
That's like
the Telltale Walking Dead is
something
not
that
a horror
happens,
game.
right?
It's a Telltale game.
Super Mario Odyssey,
Has
huge
that-
horror game.
has that.
How is a zombie game not a horror game?
We're talking about
Dude.
different levels. Like Resident Evil is just a different type of level of horror game. It is.
All right, 2005, Resident Evil 4.
Game of the year.
The Google poll.
I just don't see it winning Game of the Year with stuff that's supposed to come out this year. I don't see it beating
I mean
Horizon.
that's
I
more
don't see
logical,
it beating
to
Far
be
Cry.
honest.
I don't see it beating Halo.
But here's the thing, we don't
If God of
know.
War comes out,
we
I
don't
don't see it
know-
beating that.
We don't know that those games
When-
are coming out this year. We have no clue. We
When was the last time people got stoked
we
for
know
a Far
for
Cry
a
game?
fact that Resident Evil is coming out next month.
Far Cry stopped mattering to me with the release of 5, I think. Because like
Yeah, Far
I
Cry's not
played
anymore.
I played 3. Yeah, I played 3, loved it. I played 4. It was pretty good. Still liked it. Pretty especially because of the co-op with friends, but like the game itself pretty good. I played 5. I didn't finish it because it just wasn't that much, at least for me. I don't know if any games have released after that.
No, six
But,
is six is the next,
Oh, yeah,
the
the-
next one.
Yeah. No. There was like a 5.5, right? Like one that directly happens. It's like the first direct sequel in Far Cry or
Yeah.
something. Like-
Yeah, I can't
You remember
what it's
that?
called, though.
Yeah, but it's like Far Cry like
With the
something.
girls.
Let's. Yeah. Far Cry New Dawn. Yeah, so it's like a direct sequel of the nuclear ending of Far Cry 5. But like after that, I think nobody gave a shit about New Dawn. I didn't feel like any news or anything about it. I mean, a lot of people played it, of course. Like it's a Ubisoft game, so it like, had a shit ton of ads. So yeah, but like I don't feel like Far Cry is a big name anymore, right? Like it's almost like just legacy at this point. And I'm sorry to say it, Rocks, but I feel the same way about Halo, right?
Hold on there, child.
Okay,
You
listen.
grew
Let
up
me finish.
with-
Let me
with
finish.
Halo's downfall.
Let me finish. Okay? Let me finish. At one point, people just stopped giving a shit about Halo. Okay? And that happened, right? That happened. At one point, people just stopped caring about Halo, and it's more right now. Halo is more of a legacy than a thing right now. Like as of right now, until Halo Infinite comes out. I mean, yeah, then it'll be like a big thing again. But as of right now, it's just a legacy. And I feel the same.
It's coming back.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
coming
not
back.
denying that it can come back. I'm just talking about the present, right? Like it can, as Far Cry can come back as well. I feel like
343 did kind of shit the bed as soon as they got a hold of Halo. I loved Halo 4, but then I think they were on the right track with Halo 5, but it was just too late at that point.
And another thing, come on, all of your favorite Halo games are Bungie era, man.
Is that true? Is that true? You think you fucking know me, player?
Uh,
My favorite Halo game's Halo 4.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Cringe.
Really? I did not
Alright,
like
you
Halo
ready
4.
for this?
man.
You
I
ready
didn't
for
like the story.
My
Yeah.
favorite game type of all time was Halo 5 Breakout.
Ugh,
But
so
for
good.
whatever reason, about halfway through Halo 5's like peak, they changed Breakout from like a no shields, kind of like Counter-Strike, similar damage mechanics and stuff, to having shields and everyone starts out with a shotgun instead of people fighting for power weapons in the middle of the map like the shotgun or the DMR.
If Halo Infinite has a battle royale, it is game over.
So
it's gonna be huge.
I see what why our opinions differ, because you guys like the PvP, but when I think of Halo games, I honestly think of the
Yes.
story, right? Like, I think my favorite was actually Halo 2. I loved Halo 2. And another thing is the difficulty. I felt like playing Halo 3 on Legendary was crazy, but then playing Legendary on Halo 4 was just, I don't know. I think it's just different studios and different ways they execute the story, but in terms of storytelling, I think I like Bungie's Halo better.
Cortana died and got transferred to Windows
Now
10.
here is the thing. So I loved the story for Halo 4. I thought it was very well told.
Oh yeah.
And the ending, like, it was the only Halo game that actually made me feel emotional. And then Halo 5 came out, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of bleh. I see what they were going for with bringing in the other Spartan team and then bringing Blue Team in from the deeper lore. But they didn't execute it correctly. And then that factored in with the whole, in Halo 4 they changed the art style completely. It just didn't feel like Halo for me anymore. And that's why I moved away from the story part of it into PvP more. And the fact that 343 is going back to the original art style and the original, I don't know, themes that the Bungie era brought makes me very hopeful for the upcoming one.
Yeah, I respect that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you guys how about games that you guys like? Have you guys played any new games? Because you already know what I'm gonna talk about.
Realm.
Yeah.
I've put a few extra hours in Destiny. That's about it.
Dude,
But
Okay,
Valheim,
okay.
Fair warning.
Valheim is
Fair warning. We are at an hour and 16 minutes, so we need to wrap up soonish.
All right.
Okay, just mention Valheim real quick.
Sell me on Valheim. Why I should spend $20.
Okay,
on it.
here's the thing.
And why I shouldn't buy Sea of Thieves instead.
Okay,
Because I have been thinking about that.
fuck, they're both really good games, but I've coming from, you know how I mentioned that I'm a really big fan of open world survival. I haven't felt, and take this as a, like almost emotional level, dude. I haven't felt as much enjoyment and fun from a survival game in maybe like 2 years. Right? It's been such a unique experience. It's so hard to describe because it's like your standard survival game, right? Like you get through, you get the wood, you get the stone, you make a shed, and yeah, like standard shit, right? But it has this level of challenge, and also, of course, your main objective is killing 5 bosses. And the boss fights are so epic, and you actually have to like prepare well. You have to make meat and potions and get good armor and good weapons and fortify those weapons. And you know, it's like it's so like, I don't know.
It's just well made.
It's just so yeah. Okay, you take it off. I think you can make a better job.
So, you know, everybody knows what Valheim is, right? Generally, it's a Viking game, right? It's a game, or it's a game about Norse mythology, right? And you know, it's a unique setting, right? I don't think there are many games that you even know of that have this type of setting, right? And since it's a survival game, you need to be able to differentiate yourselves from all of the hundreds of survival games, right? Even though it's a survival game, the focus isn't actually on survival. You play the game more like an RPG in terms of character progression, right? You know, there's an avenue for those who want to play it like a survival game, right? Like you could build a house, you could do all this sort of stuff, but you don't need to really, right? As long as you have your basic necessities, you can play how you want to play. And you know, there's a crafting system. The crafting system is very simple, very intuitive. Starting the game blind may feel weird, but like an hour or so into it, you completely feel at home. It's like the game is very natural in terms of controls and what you should do. You know, there are obviously some issues, right? It is an early access game. However, in my opinion,
It
the
feels
20
like a full
bucks
game.
the $20 is already worth it for an early access game.
I
Right?
never came across a single moment that made me like think, oh yeah, this is an early access.
There's so much content, and you know, some of the content is grindy, right? You got to be grindy and you got to do all this stuff, right? But the game looks beautiful. The soundtrack is really nice. The boss fights are rewarding. There's a true sense of progression. There's like different zones you can go into, and when you first go into a zone, you get your ass beat, right? But right when you're about to fight that boss of the zone, there's a clear difference, right? From the moment you step in, getting your ass beat, to literally rolling over the enemies to get to the boss, right? You can clearly tell. But the moment you kill that boss and you like unlock a new area, you're back at square one, and you want to be able to one-shot those enemies. You want to be able to tank those shots, right? You know, there's a clear desire to push forward, and there's a clear objective to do so. So that's why that's why Zukken and I have been just absolutely creaming over this game, is because for what it is, an early access game that's $20, it is already worth the money, right? And the fact is that such a good game is just gonna improve even more in the future. You know, I'm all in, right? So
We're all in on the Valheim.
yeah.
Yeah. Like honestly,
Wow.
man, it's just amazing. It
It is a good experience.
It's
And
such
to play
a good experience, and playing it blind is the best thing ever.
to play with friends is awesome too. Just sometimes just, you know, chopping wood and chilling. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's-
and the thing is,
good vibes.
like, yeah, also like you find stuff out like organically. Like when you discover something, the game doesn't push you towards that. You discover it yourself, and that is, I feel like that is important, because there's like this guy. There's this crow that guides you.
the game
but
teaches you.
Yeah. So there's this crow that guides you. That is like the tutorial guy. Yeah, but he only appears once you do the step. You feel me? So it's like you need to find shit out yourself, and the game like points you in that direction so organically that you don't even notice you finished the tutorial.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty fun.
Yep.
I still don't know if it's going to be better than Sea of Thieves, though.
Sea of Thieves has I'll give Sea of Thieves something. It has replayability, right? But
Oh, is Valheim like
Okay.
you get through all the bosses and you're just kind of done with it?
Rox, listen. I
I'm listening.
have both games, okay? So I can tell you my opinion on both. Valheim is right now is a good, like, if you get like completely like into it and you play non-stop, you can spend a good 2 weeks like getting through it, and it's gonna be an amazing experience. But then you'll reach the end, like most games have, right? Like most games have an end, and right now Valheim has an end as there's no more content. Now that ceiling is huge, right? You need to get through a lot to get there. Me and Alpha have been playing both of us, so that's double the like manpower, and we got through it in like 2 weeks, right? But the thing that Sea of Thieves has is like it's huge replayability with a nice feeling when playing with friends, but it's kind of hollow in a sense, because like here's the thing, right? You don't keep your loot between sessions. Once you get out and you sell it, that's it. There's no more risk to you by losing. If you lose your ship right after you log in, it really doesn't matter. You can just scuttle if you want, right? But the thing is, the game like starts being intense once you like with your bodies. You've been getting loot for a couple of hours and you're getting back, and then somebody starts following you. That's the good moments, and those are bangers, right? Like I'm not gonna say that it's a bad game. Like holy shit, you can have an amazing amount of fun, and since it's replayable, it just never ends, right?
Okay.
But it's just a really different type of experience, because Valheim is more of a like curiosity, exploring, you know, and Sea of Thieves is more of a chaotic mess where you just play with balls. It's just, I guess it's more like relaxing, Valheim, that is, because it's like you don't have to go at a certain pace. It has a good soundtrack. It's, at the end of the day, they're just really different games, so it's hard to pin them against each other. But
yeah,
I mean, it really depends. It really depends on how many friends you have that play Sea of Thieves, I guess. But even if you have many, I mean, just look at some videos or something. But
I'm just gonna say this to end it. Zukken and
I've had to mute my mic multiple times this podcast because I keep rewatching that Captain Look video, and
I've
I've watched
Crack
it
up
many
every
times,
time.
honestly.
I'll just say this. if you think paying $20 for 60 hours of gameplay is worth it, then I would do it, right? Because Sea of Thieves, technically, it's however long you feel like playing, and how long you can like continue to play the game, right? Because eventually you're gonna get bored of Sea of Thieves just because you're doing the same stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically living for the fights. But once you don't enjoy the fights anymore, then you'll stop playing the game, right? And I don't know how many hours that will take, right? So I can't gauge it. But Zukken and I, a solid 60 hours of playing the game, for $20, I think it's worth it.
And wanting more.
We ended our playthrough satisfied, right, and wanting more. But it might throw you off, like, you know. It's just up to you, really. This is, you know, we're just recommending the game to you. But yeah, that's what Zukken and I have been doing for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's why we haven't really.
Kind of in.
Yeah. But yeah, like.
So Nick, go ahead and buy everybody a copy and send us the Steam codes.
No, but like,
Yeah.
no, but like, seriously, if you want to play, like, if you just want to have fun with pals, yeah, you just go for Sea of Thieves. And do tell me if you buy it, because I'll be down to play it. It's a nice game to just have a good time, you know. So yeah, just look into that. But yeah, I mean that
Alright.
closes that.
Looks like
There's the podcast.
yeah.
Okami, do you want to do the outro since you did the intro?
All right. Hey guys, thanks for coming along to Bring a Sword, where we talk about magic, technology, anime, Harry Potter, and video games.
Bad games, good games.
Yeah, and everything of the sort.
And
If you
And
enjoyed this,
Splitgate. We talked about Splitgate.
yeah. If you enjoyed this podcast and you want to listen for more, please stay tuned, because we'll be having more of these Bring a Sword podcasts. So make sure you always bring a sword and stay frosty, boys. Have a good one. This has been Okami.
Hey,
Hey.
that was a good one. Let's go.
I
Yeah.
feel like I was very low energy this podcast.
When are you not low energy?
Yeah, dude. I mean,
Boom.
you literally came from a trials loss, so, you know, it is what it
Oh
is.
yeah, I was pretty salty.
All right, I'm ending the thing.
Wow, what a good podcast.